Welcome to a special episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm a writer for FootballAnalysisOne.com. I cover the Cincinnati Bengals and NFL. Also, I write for CFLNewsHub.com. I cover the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the CFL. Also, on Football Scientific, we talk about the UFL, the IFL, the NAL, and the ELF, European League of Football. Things are getting down to the wire on some of these leagues. The UFL is done for the year. Boop. And NAL finished the championship game last night. Boop. We'll talk about that today. So we're looking at NFL, boop, CFL, boop, IFL, boop, and ELF. Boop. At least for a little bit here. IFL and ELF will wrap up, and then we'll have CFL and NFL for a little while. So that'd be pretty cool. I mentioned it's a special episode. In addition to the pro football stuff, we're going to talk about just some football logic. I was talking to some coaches this morning after practice. Yes, I had practice this morning. After practice, I talked to some coaches about my formula for winning championships, the Flux Capacitor for winning championship football games. I'm going to go through that today, kind of a mini clinic. I think we'll start doing some mini clinics as we go for those that want to learn more about the actual game of football, about coaching football. Thinking like a coach versus thinking like a fan. It's way different. So that's the plan. I'm joined by my guest host, Tyler the Tiger. Tyler the Tiger's here, not a Tiger Shark. He messed it up last time we did a video just a minute ago. He had a coughing fit and he had to quit. He had to restart. Why are you telling him that, Tyler? Don't tell him my secrets. He had to restart. He called me a Tiger Shark and it wasn't cool. So I choked him. I choked him and tried to make sure he couldn't finish the show, and he couldn't. And we started over. Let's go, Tyler. Whoop, 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 whoop. Ah! Okay. That got a little weird. All right, so we're going to go through the football news first and talk about the mini clinic. So first, Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the CFL, they added American quarterback Zach Collaros officially back to the roster. So next time they play this weekend, they should have Zach Collaros at starting quarterback back from suspension. They added national long snapper Ian LaRue. They released American wide receiver Reggie White Jr., who used to be quite good in this league, but I guess now he's past his time. You'll see if he pops up somewhere else in the CFL. And they added to the practice roster global punter Jamison Sheehan. Okay. Montreal Alouettes, they added from suspension American wide receiver Charleston Rambo. Haven't heard about him so far, although they've been doing quite well without him. So they got an extra weapon on their offense. They added to the practice roster American linebacker Katie Davis. Okay. Boom. Toronto Argonauts. They made a lot of activity this week. They signed American linebacker Aaron Casey. They signed American running back Kevin Maroon. They added to their practice roster American defensive lineman from their practice roster, so they activated them. American defensive lineman Elias Bell and American defensive lineman DeMarcus Johnson. They moved to the single-game injured list. American linebacker Wyndon McManus, he's one of their linebackers. He's been sent to the injured list. That's why they had to sign American linebacker Aaron Casey. They also moved the American running back Deontay McMahon to the single-game injured list and to the six-game injured list. The long-term injured list, they moved American defensive lineman DeMarcus Christian, which is why they moved two defensive linemen from the practice squad to the active roster. Okay, filling in some gaps. That's part of the CFL. It's a long season, and you guys are filling in gaps where you have injuries pop up. The teams that can fill in gaps well end up becoming championship teams. The teams that can't end up becoming not playoff teams, like the Tiger Cats last year. Okay, BC Lions, they released American defensive lineman Trey Crawford. They also released national defensive lineman Deshaun Stevens. They added from suspension American defensive lineman Sloan Tuhama. Okay, and then they moved to their practice roster American defensive lineman Jaleel Clemens and American linebacker Devin Richards. As they're adding defensive linemen and linebackers, they have to move some back to the practice roster. Okay. All right. More CFL activities. Calgary Stampeders signed national long snapper Jason McGugan. They also moved to 6-game injured list national long snapper Aaron Crawford. They had to get Jason McGugan to replace Aaron Crawford. Ottawa Red Blacks, they signed American defensive lineman Gavin Heslop. I believe he played for the San Antonio Brahmas for a short time. They signed national defensive lineman Anthony Bennett. They have signed American defensive lineman Sham Schnee. They released national wide receiver Ethan Jordan. They released American wide receiver Ayer Asante. And they added to the practice roster, from the practice roster, national defensive lineman Mufta Ayele. And they moved to the single-game injury list, American defensive lineman Davion Taylor. Okay? Boom. That's your CFL news from today. Boom. NFL, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their first-round wide receiver pick, Emeka Egbuka, has been getting a ton of, he's a leader for targets and OTAs. Not that that means anything, but he's getting the ball thrown to him a lot. He's rising as a playmaker for Tampa Bay. Carolina Panthers, they have a lot of interest in former Falcons defensive back Justin Simmons. They always need more defenders at the Panthers. San Francisco 49ers and Minnesota Vikings are both interested in former Packers cornerback Jair Alexander. See where he ends up falling. Pittsburgh Steelers signed safety Deshaun Elliott for 2 years for $12.5 million. That's a pretty good late free agency signing. Okay, $12.5 million for 2 years with a $9.21 million guarantee. That's a good pickup for the Steelers. Deshaun Elliott, pretty good. San Francisco 49ers Trent Williams said he's looking to play for 3 or 4 more years until he's 40 or so. So he's coming near the end of his career, but he wants to get a few more years out of it. He's still really good. Los Angeles Rams re-signed cornerback Darion Kendrick. He started 18 games, but he had some issues last year, so they weren't going to bring him back, so now they did. Oops, hard to find replacements. Jalen Ramsey. Couldn't get Jalen Ramsey. I think they gave up on that means they gave up on Jalen Ramsey from the Dolphins. New York Giants, reports are saying that quarterback Jackson Dart, their late first-round draft pick, is looking like quarterback 2 behind Russell Wilson. Pittsburgh Steelers, they now once again have interest in Dolphins tight end Jonnu Smith. He doesn't have any interest back in them, but they keep being interested in him. And then not, and then are, and then not, and then it's really toxic. Next, with Jackson Dart becoming quarterback 2 behind Russell Wilson for the Giants, the New Orleans Saints players are like, hey, we should get Jameis Winston back. He was pretty good. We'll see. He did win some games with the Saints. He also threw a bunch of interceptions for the Saints. So they don't mind. Jacksonville Jaguars general manager James Gladstone says Travis Hunter is definitely capable of playing all game both ways. I don't know if he's even signed yet. They're just throwing that on there, a little spice on there saying, hey man, we think you can do it. Whatever you want. Sign with us. Washington Commanders head coach Dan Quinn says he is really impressed with wide receiver Deebo Samuel. I saw some kind of video last week about how Deebo Samuel is fat and out of shape and looking real slow. But Dan Quinn came out here with some counter recruiting. He said, hey, Deebo Samuel is probably the fastest guy on our team, and it looks really good. I don't know which one's real. I guess he's trying to put some pressure on Terry McLaurin in his contract situation, most likely. The last pro football news is in the NAL Championship Game was played last night. It was a very exciting, somewhat exciting game. Good, exciting finish. Omaha Beef traveled to the Beaumont Renegades. Beaumont Renegades jumped out to a big, it started off like 13-6. It was going back and forth, going back and forth. Beaumont took over and went like up to 37-13. Okay. But then Omaha started firing back in the fourth quarter. It was a crazy game. Omaha ended up only passing the ball seven times, 16 times for 7 completions for 60 passing yards. That's a really no number of passing yards for Omaha Beef. And they ran the ball for 95 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. So it was all about that ground game, guys. That ties into the mini clinic. And then Beaumont Renegades, they came out and they threw the ball. They threw 8 completions on 12 attempts. That's better than 7 for 16 for 99 yards, a touchdown. But they had 3 interceptions. And usually having 3 interceptions spells trouble. But in addition to the 3 interceptions, they ran the ball for 124 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And they also had a fumble recovery. So that gets, they won the running game. They lost in the turnover game, but they kind of evened it up a little bit. And they won so much in the passing and running game, they were able to hold on to a 37-29 win to get their first NAL championship, defeating the Omaha Beef. In the IFL, Tulsa Oilers, they have activated wide receiver Facion McClurge from the Detroit Lions. No, from the Exemplars. I don't know who he plays. All right, good. So, then it's time for the mini clinic. So, what are we talking about today? We're going to see if we can get a bigger angle here. Let's see if we can change the angle of this thing a little bit. And I just want to talk about what I call the Flux capacitor for winning championships. Now, it's going to look opposite to you. It's going to look opposite to you, but I don't care. All right, so first, if you want to be a championship football team, okay, you want to be a championship football team, offensively, you have to have a good game plan, okay? You have to have a good game plan. That game plan is going to need to involve running the ball effectively, okay? Why? Because I'm old and boring? No. So some people have said that before. They've said that before. But that's not the reason. The reason is if you can run the ball effectively, you can manage your downs, you can manage your down and distance, you can manage the game, you can slow down your tempo, you can speed up your tempo. The ability to run the ball allows you to have a lot of flexibility offensively, okay? Rushing yards are more valuable than passing yards. It's easier to amass passing yards, okay? But they are the candy of the football yardage world. Okay, just because you get a bunch of passing yards doesn't mean you're going to win the game, because you didn't control the pace of the game, you didn't control the tempo, you didn't, grind out first downs. I remember several years ago, I was with a team of Fort Wayne, and Coach Larry Getz was the head coach there, and we were down like 26-0, 28-0 in the first quarter against a team who was a very good passing team. We were an old school double wing team. We ran power and super power and wedge and counter. And we were out 28-0. Usually for a power team like we were, that's trouble. That means you're going to lose the game. Okay? But we came out and ran all 56 straight points and we ran the ball down their throat. We wore them out. Once we got rolling, their offense could not fire back. Because we ran the ball effectively, our rushing yards became more valuable than their passing yards. We won the game 56-28. Okay, against Northrop High School in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So that shows the value of running the ball. Also, if you look at all these stats I go over, okay, go over all the stats, different leagues, IFL, ELF, CFL, UFL. There's an overwhelming majority of the time that teams that win in the running game having more rushing yards than their opponent win the game. And that you may see a game where a team runs for 150 rushing yards, the other team throws for 400. But the 150-yard rushing team wins the game unless they turn the ball over a bunch. That goes to the next coaching point. So first, running the ball is important. If you want to run the ball, you need one of two things. You need a really good offensive line, or you need a really good running back. If you have both, you're in good shape, and you might run the ball all the time. If you have neither, then you have to protect your running game with RPOs and play action and screen passes and little passes to keep people from loading the box against your running game and shutting it down. Okay? Defenses, if they don't have to respect your passing game, don't have to be better than you to stop your running game. They just need to put more people in the box than you have, and then that will make it difficult to run the ball. So you have to do enough passing to keep people from sacking the box. But you have to run the ball enough to win the game. So there's a balance there. I need to pass enough to keep them out of the box, to keep the numbers right for the box. But I need to run the ball effectively if I want to win the game. If I want to win a championship, I got to run the ball effectively all season long. Okay? Next, with that, you cannot have fumbles. It doesn't matter how good you run the ball if you fumble the ball multiple times. Ball security is job security. Write that down, kids. If you're a kid watching this, ball security is job security. Okay, so you cannot have fumbles and expect to win football games. We just talked about Omaha Beef fumbling against Beaumont Renegades. They recovered a fumble. They outran them. They did everything they're supposed to do. They won the game. Boom, they won NAL Championship. That formula. That's everyone's formula. Every winning team has the same formula. Okay, no fumbles. Okay, no interceptions. Now, this is tough to do if you're a heavy passing team, which is why being a heavy passing team is not as good as being a good running team. Balance is the key. You would love to have an equal balance of running the ball and passing the ball. That would be awesome. Okay, not always possible. Okay, and balance can take different forms. You want the same number of yards from each? Sometimes you get that. You want the same number of play calls from each? Sometimes you get that. What is balance to me? Balance to me is we can run the ball when we want to, and we can pass the ball when we need to, in my mindset. And I've ran air raid offenses and run and shoot offenses and West Coast offenses, single wing, double wing, I backs, okay? And what I find is the same thing, okay? You want to have enough passing game to protect your running game. I love RPOs, but I love them because they protect my running game with the passing game. Okay, also if I have an athletic quarterback, which I like dual threat quarterbacks, not everyone does, but I do, it allows you to protect your running game and gives you another running option. Okay, but interceptions are troubling. A lot of old school coaches don't like passing the ball. See, new school coaches love passing the ball, whether they're good at it or not. I've seen a lot of coaches that love passing the ball, they don't know how to coach it. They don't know how to teach it, they don't know how to coach a quarterback, they don't know how to teach receivers how to be good receivers. They just want to pass the ball rather than board and run the ball because they don't want to get bored. They don't want the fans to get bored. They don't want to get booed. Okay? So for job security, they don't worry about fumbles. They worry about passing the ball and being excited. And that is not always how it works out because passing the ball really, honestly, is harder than running the ball well. Okay? If you're going to run the ball well, grind it out, get reps, pass the ball well, it's way more dynamic. You have to, pass the ball, get reps. You have to have receivers who can catch. You got to get off coverage. You got to deal with weather conditions. You have a quarterback who can throw. You have quarterbacks who can, if you got a quarterback hurt, you got to have another quarterback who can throw. There's so much going on with the passing game. And you have to basically specialize in it to be really good at it. And I specialize in it in an air raid offense in the West Coast and a run and shoot. But the best offense is the one that's balanced. Okay, you have some power run, you have some zone run, you have some quick passing, you have some play action deep ball passing. You're in pretty good shape. Could be you have a quarterback. You have to have a quarterback that can handle all of that, and that's hard to find. The higher level you get, the harder it is to find. Not everyone in the NFL has a quarterback who can handle all that. You would like to think they do, but they don't. Okay, all right. Interceptions though, real bad. Turning the ball over, real bad. Okay, ball security equals job security. Remember that. Okay. Boom. Number 4, touchdowns. You want to score touchdowns versus field goals. I used to play against a team when I was in college. I played at Tri-State University for a little while. Trine University now. We played University of St. Francis in Fort Worth, Indiana. And they were a run and shoot team. And they always said, we want to get touchdowns, not field goals. So a lot of times they would go for it on 4th down inside their red zone rather than take the easy points of field goal. They wanted to score touchdowns. And they won several national championships. They were very, very good. We beat them a few times. But they were very, very good. Okay? And they would not want to settle for a field goal. They want to score touchdowns. Sometimes, seems like the Tiger Cats, they settle all the time for field goals. They're not willing to take a risk. And they want to hit field goals all the time. But here's 2 problems with that. First, what if you missed the field goal? Now you got nothing. And then second, what if the other team gets touchdowns? Now, if they get 7, you get 3. You get 7, and you get out of the game. You lose the game automatically because you're not scoring touchdowns. Okay? Whether you go for 2 or not, that's your call. Probably, if you're in the NFL, you're going to make good decisions with that. High school football, you might go for 2 every time. Some teams do that, and some teams are championship teams that do that. They're very good. Okay, but you want to score touchdowns. If you don't have the option for 6 points, for 7 points, for 8 points, then you're in trouble. Okay, because the other team just needs to score a little bit to beat you. If you go out there and have 3 scoring drives, and you got 3 field goals, you got 9 points, and they score twice, they got minimum 10 points. They win the game. Okay, all right. So offensively, that's it. Run the ball. You got to be able to run the ball effectively. If you have a great running back, he can pick up 4 yards of carry. Without a good offensive line, you're going to win a championship. You're going to win a championship. If you have a good offensive line and a decent running back, you're going to be able to run the ball. You have to protect it. You have to use RPOs. You have to use play action. You have to use boots. You have to do things to get the ball to the edge and keep people from sacking the box against you. If you have a crappy running back, then you have to pass the ball, and you're probably going to lose a bunch of games. Done that as well. Udawa High School. Okay? All right. So why I'm at Grace Academy now. Okay, defense coordinator. See what happens? Things don't go well because of the passing game. Next thing you know. So these are lessons learned, kids. Lessons learned. You may or may not agree, but you probably haven't done these things. So how would you even know to agree? Okay. I've been coaching for 24 years. I've been involved in football since I was 8 years old. That's 39 years. I know. I understand what's going on here. All right, defensively, okay, keys to victory. So you have to do these things on offense, but it helps if you defensively win in some areas too. And there's 4 areas to win in. They're very similar to the other ones. First, you got to stop the run. If you want to win the game, you got to stop the run. Okay, you got to stop the run because the other team wants to run the ball. They want to run it down your throat. That's the easiest way to win the game is to run it down your throat. If you stop the run and force them to pass, your chances for winning the game go up dramatically. They go up dramatically if you can stop the run effectively, okay? You may not completely shut it down. Some teams are really good at running the ball. So you're just going to contain the run and force them into bad situations. Ideally, against a really good team, you want to get them in a second and long, third and long situation, fourth and long, and force them to throw the ball. If you allow them to pick up like 4 downs and go 2nd and 6, and pick up 4 downs, go 3rd and 2, pick up 4 downs, they get 4th down. Boop. That's trouble. That's double wing football. You go out there and pick up 4 yards, boop, 4 yards, boop, hit a counter, boop, pick up 50 yards. Just that easy. Wedge plays, boop, hit it, boop, 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 and then hit something big off that. Pop pass, play action, something off of that, okay? That's how the tush push is a wedge play, y'all. Old school wedge play. Love it. Okay, so you got to stop the run defensively. Stopped some wedge plays last year. Some teams in Southeast Whitfield tried to run the wedge play at us. We stopped it because I know how to run it really well. I know how to stop it really well as well. Okay? All right. Number 2, you got to force and recover fumbles. It's not good enough to force fumbles. You got to recover fumbles too. You got to force fumbles. Team can protect the ball. They're going to beat you. But not necessarily. But they have a better chance of beating you. So you have to rip the ball out. You have to punch the pocket, or you have to rip the cord and get the ball out, and you have to recover. So you have to work with your teammates. You got to get the ball out, rip the cord, punch the pocket. The other guy has to recover the ball, scoop the score, defensive touchdown. The Montreal Alouettes, they score so many defensive touchdowns, and that's why they keep winning games. That's why they're the best team in the East right now in the CFL. Because they force fumbles, boop, and they score off fumbles. Boop, they recover the fumble. Boop. You can force 100 fumbles, maybe not 100. You can force 5 fumbles, and if you don't recover any of them, who cares? Who cares? You got to recover a fumble. You got to be aggressive, get the loose ball on the ground. Defensive football is like defensive basketball. You got to get the loose ball on the ground. You got to sell out and get the loose ball on the ground. Okay. Next, interceptions. You got to force interception. Now, I haven't talked about tackling. I don't know if you noticed that, but tackling is part of stopping the run. Tackling is part of first. It's part of all this. Okay. Interception. Today I'm just talking about the recipe for winning championships. That's it. Interceptions. If the team's going to pass the ball, you've got to pick off the ball. You won't pick them all off. A good quarterback will complete passes against you. Defensively, if you're trying to stop the run, you are going to leave space open for them to pass the ball. If you completely shut down the running game, they'll get beat deep, and it will not matter if you stop the running game, okay? So you have to balance that out. And you got to play a little zone maybe. You have to bring some heat, okay? And you're waiting for a ball to be overthrown or tipped. In my world, anytime a ball is overthrown or tipped, we need to intercept that and get the ball back. And sometimes it'll be a touchdown. Sometimes it won't. But sometimes we set our offense up for a touchdown, and that's important, okay? And then big difference maker. If you score a defensive touchdown, your chances for winning the game go up exponentially, okay? If you can win in the defensive side, you can score a defensive touchdown. That is an off-schedule score. Okay, meaning offense wasn't planning on scoring that. So if we score a defensive touchdown and the offense was planning on scoring some points also, we just double our chance for winning the game. It's double it. If we score 2 defensive touchdowns, we triple it. Okay? Because defensive touchdowns, no matter how many you make, they're unexpected. Okay, unless you're the Montreal Alouettes, and they do it every game. It's amazing. You have to make that an emphasis on your team. You have to emphasize strips. Right now, in the spring, we worked on vice tackling. I don't like single-man tackling because it's too easy to miss a tackle. I do like vice tackling, though, where 2 guys will come up, and they'll approach a ball carrier, and they work together, and they get in and tackle, okay? It minimizes your chance for missed tackles. But we also go by strip drill. So I'll come up, and if the ball's in that side, my guy will come in and either punch the pocket, boop, or rip the cord, boop. Got it, and get the ball out, then we'll recover that thing. Okay. Also, right now we're doing 7-on-7. We're working tip drill. Boop, 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 boop. Tip drill. Get the ball. Boop. Get an interception. Remember, any tip passes, any overthrows, we want to pick those up. Okay. We want to turn the ball back to our offense and pick up some points. If you're playing 7-on-7 this time of year, usually picking a ball off is worth points. Not always. We're going to an FCA camp in a couple of weeks after dead weeks. And they don't give you points for interceptions there. And that's all right. You get the ball back for offense. You go punch it in an offense. You know, if the offense is good, then interception just sets them up. Okay? Back in the old days, playing days, Adams County Patriots, national champions 2008. We used to say turnover, touchdown. That's the relationship between offense and defense. Turnover, touchdown. They get turnovers, we get touchdowns. Turnovers, touchdowns. Turnovers. Then you start feeding off each other. And when your offense and defense are feeding off each other, you blow teams out. You look really good. Warren Central 2018, won a ring with them. State championship. Offense and defense work together. Okay? Defense will get the ball back, offense will punch it in. Defense will get the ball back, offense will punch it in. Boom. Against tough teams like Center Grove and Indianapolis, it didn't work out that way all the time. You had to grind it out. But we were capable of grinding it out too. You have to be able to do both. How do you do it? Offensively, run the ball. No fumbles. No interceptions. Score touchdowns over field goals. Okay? Field goals have their place, but I'd rather have a touchdown. Okay? Defensively, you got to stop the run. Boot. You got to make sure you force and recover fumbles. Boot. You got to intercept passes, especially overthrows and tip balls. And then you have to score a defensive touchdown a game. Score a defensive touchdown a game, your current game go undefeated. Montreal US will probably win every game they score a defensive touchdown in. Watch it. They're 2-0. They scored defensive touchdowns in both those games. Saskatchewan Rough Riders scored a defensive touchdown against Hamilton Ticats. They won the game. Surprise? No. That's how you win the game. They also ran the ball well. They didn't fumble. This works in the IFL, the NFL, the CFL, high school football, flag football, every kind of football. This all works, okay? I have more topics I can talk about. That's the one written on the whiteboard right now. I think I might erase that and add something else. We can talk about some scheme, offense or defense. If you're watching this and you want to go over some football stuff, let me know. I have a wealth of information. In addition to my 39 years experience in football, I got all these books, okay? And then I don't know if I don't want to drop my phone, but I got these rings down here, okay? So I bring a wealth of football information. It's not just a show. It's not just puppets. It's not just silly stuff, okay? I do like silly stuff, especially with football. I think it's entertaining. But I think this is something, what I offered you today is something that's good sports. ESPN, Fox Sports cannot offer you. And it is deep philosophical insight into the game of football from a coaching perspective beyond what a fan would understand, okay? If you want to learn more about football, let me know in the comments. I can go through anything. I've done this thing for a long time. I can go through anything, okay? But let's wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the first mini clinic. Let me know if you have other things you want to hit. Tyler, any closing thoughts? Let's go do it. Let's go get it. Let's go win. Ticats have the week off. Check out footballanalysis1.com. We published an article about the top running backs in the league, and we just did one about the Bengals' history of contract negotiations and how poorly that goes. And then, sometimes it doesn't go poorly. And then, check out CFL News Hub, and if you like the video, hit subscribe and like it so the algorithm sends you more videos. And we'll do more football. I don't know anything about football really, but I enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you for presenting, Coach Stoddard. Thanks, Tyler. Do you want to give me a high five? I do. Okay, enjoy the show. Football side, this portal is closed.